Okay, hi, I'm Lisa. I internshipped at a hair salon right in Newtonville, actually. It's called Cobella Hair Salon. And my internship site was called lisascosmetology.weebly.com, so feel free to check that out afterwards if you want. So before I really start, I just want to talk about the business and like how it works. And it was basically like, it's an independent business. You don't really rely on anyone. You don't have a boss. I mean, you kind of have a boss if you work at a salon, but you pick your own times, you pick your clients, how many hours you want to work that day, how many clients you want to take that day. It's all up to you. And it's basically what you put in is what you're going to get out of it. So if you're willing to put in the effort and the time, then the more you're going to get a better business and you're going to get your name out there and create a good business for yourself. And a big thing is you're always wanting to learn more in this business. So that means there's usually a lot of night classes that you can take, so you can end up going to those. Usually they offer them at the salons, and there's always new styles that come out when you're basically learning the root of fashion. Like Kylie Jenner, for example, she always has a new hairdo and everyone wants to do it. And like the ombre look, everyone wants to do that. That's kind of new, so you kind of have to be able to learn that so people will want to go to you if you know more new stuff. And that's a big thing. And another thing is the customer is always right. So even if it means that they want purple hair, you give them purple hair. You can suggest something else for them if they want it. Like, oh, maybe if you want to go blonder, maybe not the purple, something else. But that's what they want. So if they want that, you give it to them to make them happy. Because I actually experienced something at the salon that you don't really see often, but it can happen because it was very shocking, and it was crazy how the hairdresser handled it and everything. A lady came in with her son, and he had hair maybe up to his shoulders, and he wanted to get it, she just wanted to trim, and the husband came too, and she was like, all right, I'm gonna go do an errand, I'll be back, and I just a trim. And the hairdresser was like, all right, only a trim. So she cut maybe like an inch off, and then the husband was like, cut off about 2 more inches. So she was like, okay, well, if the husband's saying it, then maybe that's okay. So we cut off 2 more inches, and then he was like, all right, a little bit more. So I ended up having hair like up to here, and it was like a bob cut on him. And the lady came back, and she flipped out, and she was like, why did you do this? I cannot believe you did this. Like, what did you do to my son's hair? And it didn't look that great in the first place, but she wanted, what she wanted. And she ended up blaming it on the hairstylist, and she was like, look, your husband said to cut off that, that amount, so I don't know, like, it's not my fault. And she was like, you don't listen to him. It's like, well, that's your husband, so, I mean, I was kind of just thought I should listen to him because that's what he said he wanted. And she ended up having this huge fit, and the son even started getting involved. Was like, yeah, you listen to my mom. And the husband was just sitting there like, all right, like, I don't want my son with hair up to his shoulders. There's nothing wrong with that, I'm not saying that. But he wanted it to be shorter because it's his son, that's the way he wanted it. And the lady was like, I'm not going to pay for this. And she literally grabbed her son and just walked out the door. And the husband's like walking behind him like, okay, well, sorry about that. And tried to give the hairdresser money. But she handled it very well. And she kind of just was like, all right, ma'am, you don't have to pay. You can leave. And like, we can just move on from this. I'm sorry that this is not what you wanted, but I was just going off what your husband said. And so that was a experience that you don't see often. But point is, the hairdresser handled it really well, and whether the customer is wrong, like in that case the customer was very wrong, but she was still handled it right, and she just kept her peace, and the lady ended up coming back like a couple of days later and apologizing, so it was good. And she brought her son to get another haircut a month ago, so that worked out. And then there's a lot of ways you can like go when you're in like cosmetology. You don't have to only be a hairdresser. You don't have to only do makeup. You can literally go around the world if you want. You can do magazines, you can do hair shows and do crazy styles like that if you want. You can go on tour, and you can there's so many other things you can do. You don't have to, I hate when people say that cosmetology is just for hair and like being a hairdresser or being a makeup artist or waxing. There's so many other things that literally, if you're passionate about fashion, you can get into more fashion. If you're into movies, there's cool makeup things for movies when they design all those cool makeups and like on monsters or whatever that you see on the movies. Like there's just so many other types of things you can do with it. And so that's like a big thing. And this is Honey Boo Boo because she's awesome. And I love this quote, and it says, "Fashions fade and style is eternal." And it's by Yves Saint Laurent, and I thought that hair thing was pretty cool. And I just also wanted to say a big thanks to Miss Price. She's not here right now, but she kind of put this together for me. She went out of her way personally and kind of created this internship for me because they didn't have it a couple years ago. They took it out because Blaine was like a schooling for cosmetology for people that wanted to, do more in the lines of hair and makeup, and you can get your license for that. And they took that out a couple of years ago, and there wasn't really anything for me to do here. And I tried finding other interests in like maybe law or like science and all that, but I just was not interested in any of that. So it definitely made my senior year a lot better, and I experienced a lot, and I just want to say thank you to her and everyone else in the Samahat for kind of putting that together for me. And yeah, that's it.